Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching. This is something to think about on the American Doofus channel. Please subscribe, like, share, hit the notification bell if you're already a subscriber so you'll know when we're on. And it is the second day of August 2022. We will be on live tomorrow night, Wednesday night at midnight. We'll be live with a late night America. And at the moment, we've got a lot of things to think about. So let's get right to it. We're going to go all the way from what's happening on the earth to what's happening with 1776 restoration movement. And we begin by taking a look at what's happening earthquake wise around the world. As you can see, not a lot of large activity, which are going to be the major green arrows. And at the moment, a 4.2 is about the strongest thing going on, and that's about to be expected. The earth is constantly rumbling, as we are used to seeing. Now, about a week ago, things started getting really quiet, and we started talking about the possibility, the expectation that something big was probably going to happen because everything got quiet. And it indeed did. It happened in the Philippines. As of right now, that has been the biggest earthquake in the past few weeks, and we hope it stays that way. Things have returned pretty much to a normal pattern, as we're seeing here. And speaking of normal patterns, let's look at the sun. We start off right here with the, you can see the active region, incredibly active region, and a dark spot in the sun, both of which are beginning to rotate towards us. You can see them in the different frequencies. An incredibly active area right in here on the red, right over here on the blue, in the green, and then over here in the gold, which we normally have the rotating gold image. Volcanic activity, since this is our weekly update. Not much has changed over the past week, as you can see from our map. And that takes us to the transitioning of the poles. We've been talking about this for a few months now. The North Magnetic Pole and the South Magnetic Pole are both transitioning. They're both moving. The Earth is overdue for a magnetic pole flip, meaning that the poles basically reverse. At best, they are transitioning. And as far as tracking things when transitions are going on, you can see it goes back 60,000, 48, 36, 24, 12, just about every 12,000 years. During a transition, we will see extreme changes in climate, as we are now. And we're beginning to understand, as we've been talking about on here, how the Earth's magnetic field basically impacts our weather. Okay, let's get a little bit closer to home, a little bit away from science, and transition into some current events. I got a message actually 2 days ago, and I only had the one source, so I didn't report it right away. But the message I got was, they are conducting nuclear drills in Philadelphia, and with the emergency public service announcements that have been going on in New York City, preparing them for a nuclear attack. It is coincidental that they are also planning and executing drills in the event of a hypersonic missile attack on Philadelphia. Why is it coincidental? Well, you got to remember that Zaman al-Zawahiri was killed yesterday. The leader of Al-Qaeda was killed in in a drone strike by the Central Intelligence Agency of the United States. So Biden, they had a good idea where he was at. Biden okayed the attack. The attack was carried out and the attack was successful. That means they probably had that information for a while. That may be why the warning in New York City and why the drills in Philadelphia, because the possibility now exists not only of an attack from another nation, nuclear wise, but also the possibility of a terrorist attack, and possibly a dirty bomb attack, as we've been talking about, as that is what I think New York was kind of preparing their citizens for in the first place. So we have all that to consider, that are these things related? I don't know. But yesterday in central Indiana, where I live, there were a group of choppers that went overhead in formation, 6 of them. And then today, an A-10 Warthog flew overhead at about 300 feet above the house, and it rattled the house, and it was a very distinctive sound, and you can tell by the look of the plane. So drills are going on in various parts of the country, including a public service announcement for a possible nuclear attack and what to do in case of one. And that's been being broadcast for about a month now in New York City, if not longer, probably closer to 6 weeks now. And brings us to Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House of Representatives for the United States Congress, is in Taiwan right now. Taiwan is on the brink of hostilities with China, so much so that China has basically surrounded Taiwan at the moment in preparation for a military drill. And actually going to be conducting military drills on portions of Taiwan's sovereign territory. China's never done this before. The question is, the something to think about is, what's Nancy Pelosi doing there? Because information from the White House was the Biden administration didn't want her to go. The information from Taiwan was Taiwan didn't want her coming there. And of course, the information from China is, if she comes there, it is a provocation, which could lead to a declaration of war. Is that why we're preparing things here in the United States? It's at least something to think about. Why is Pelosi there? Is this some act of privilege that, no one's going to tell me where I can go and where I can't go? That's incredibly selfish if that's what it is. Hold on just a second here. I'm not sure where that's coming from, but apologies for that. There, a commercial broke out when I wasn't anticipating it in there. So what's Nancy Pelosi doing? And is this just pushing an already volatile world towards the possibility of a conflict that engulfs the world? Here's what I kind of think is going to happen. Nancy Pelosi is going to leave the island of Taiwan tomorrow, and Taiwan is going to find itself, if not under attack, under such intimidation that it could be hard not to capitulate with China. So I kind of think tomorrow is the 3rd day of August, will be a key day in a number of ways, not least of which is the repercussions of Nancy Pelosi going to Taiwan. As as rather absurd as that seems, that would be such a uh, I don't know, such a catch point, but nonetheless, it really is. And so that takes us to what's going on at the 1776 restoration movement as of today. And let's see if it's going to pop up or not. I was going to go live with what's happening at the 1776 restoration movement, but it seems to have frozen up. So I won't do that. I'll just tell you what's been happening. This morning, the National Parks Service police force informed the 1776 movement that they had 36 hours to vacate the premise, that their permit, they had violated the permit in numerous fashion, and no new permit would be given, that they had ample time to grow their movement, which they said was their purpose. It had not done so. And so they had 36 hours to get off the mall. Basically, they had a meeting, and some of them said, it's time for us to go. Others said, screw it, we're going to stay and see if they'll arrest us. I believe the number that are staying are 13. Now, these are some hardcore people, by past actions, past words, and past records. So it still is a potentially dangerous situation down there. The majority of them are staying tonight and then leaving in the morning. Those that are leaving, the others are going to stay there again, in violation of the law, and kind of force the law to do something, if something is going to be done. So we're still going to keep an eye on all of that. Meanwhile, while all of that was going on at the mall, at the Capitol, the veterans had a victory today, in that the legislation to grant healthcare relief for burn pit victims was passed through the Senate. It had passed through the House despite all but 8 Republicans voting against it, and it was delayed in the Senate by Republicans and eventually passed. Now, the pushback on that was, it was full of pork. It was full of pork. It wasn't full of pork. It was a bill specifically for them. It was, the reason the Republicans voted against it is because Senator Manchin of West Virginia had decided to vote with the Democrats in Joe Biden's Reconstruction program to help the infrastructure of the United States get put back together. Manchin decided to get on board with that. The Republicans were hurt over that and decided they were going to use the veterans as a way of holding up, or trying to hold Manchin accountable, despite him being an elected Democrat. So it was a lot of political theater, and at the expense of veterans, which is incredibly sad, but is true nonetheless. So that's what's happening. That's what's going on. Still trying to arrange a prisoner swap to get WNBA basketball player Brittany Griner and one other American back. They've gone from trying to exchange an arms dealer to Russia wanting a mass murderer back in exchange. So we'll see how those things play out. The diplomatic relations on the foreign level, again, could be very difficult going forward, depending on what China decides to do tomorrow after Nancy Pelosi leaves. They're not going to do anything while she's there. They're not going to risk an immediate direct response from the United States. They'll wait till she's gone and then do whatever they're going to do and see if we do anything about it. And that's kind of how that's going to play out. So again, thank you all for watching this brief little update of something to think about. And we will be live tomorrow night. It'll be midnight on Wednesday Eastern Standard Time. That will be 11 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock in the Mountain Time, and 9 p.m. Pacific tomorrow night, Wednesday, the 3rd of August. We'll tell you what's happened at 1776 movement. We'll tell you what's happened with China and Taiwan. We'll get a good look at when we expect the active region of the sun to be facing us, and anything else that we think that you should be thinking about, because we don't tell you what to think or how to think. We just show you things you should think about. And we remind you to think, because if you're not controlling your head, somebody else is, or they will. And we don't want that. We love y'all. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, this has been something to think about on the American Doofus channel. Once again, hit the subscribe, hit the like, hit the share, hit the notification. Look at one of these past episodes. Hit that subscription button if you haven't. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps the channel, and we do appreciate that. So until next time, thanks for watching.